Hello guys! Today we are going to move away a little from the universe to reflect on the concept of time. In fact, what is a time? Are there ways to remain eternally young using some characteristics of time? And if there is the possibility of time retroceding, what dangers would we face? Everything will be very clear when you watch this video today. So it's time for us to start. What is a time? Time is one of the things we consider something natural. It is widely known that time is unidirectional, advancing from the past to the future without stopping or going back. This concept has been used countless times throughout world culture, from classic works to internet memes. However, paradoxically, no one has a concrete and easy-to-understand answer to the fundamental question of what time is. In fact, even scientists cannot do this. The nature of time is unknown. Even in academic fields that break paradigms, such as quantum physics, time is simply accepted as something given. Several scientists associate time with the flow of the expansion of the universe and thermodynamic reactions. But answering the question of which came first, the expansion of space or time, is difficult. Not being a question of the egg or the chicken. In other words, we do not know if the characteristics of the universe led to the formation of time as we know it today, or if, on the contrary, the existence of time allowed the universe to acquire expansion characteristics. Some scientists deal with what is called the quantum of time, the smallest unit that cannot be subdivided. This is known as Planck's time and is defined as the time it takes for particles or waves that move at light speed, without mass, to cross the border of the scale at which the quantum effect called Planck's length becomes effective. However, it is clear that this is an introduction to perform many specific calculations, being a purely theoretical parameter. In this way, no one on Earth really knows what time is. We have no choice but to admit it. In addition, we do not know why time always flows in a single direction. If we stop to think, we cannot even go back a minute in the past. This is due to the fact that it would be necessary to completely reproduce the state of the universe exactly 1 minute before, even at the most fundamental levels of elementary particles. However, even if someone could perform this literally miraculous feat, we would not really be returning to the past. From the point of view of all of you, a complete reversal like this would not change the present for something that would correspond to the desire to go back in time. In this way, everything becomes extremely complex. We could dedicate the rest of this video to these issues, but it probably wouldn't arouse much interest in all of you. Playing with time. In everyday life, it is naturally accepted that time not only flows in a single direction, but also that it is equal to all. If exactly 1 hour has passed, this means that 1 hour has passed equally for all of you and for all people on Earth. Naturally, for several reasons, some people may subjectively feel that this time has passed like an instant, while others may feel the opposite. But objectively, for all, 1 hour has passed. This can be confirmed using a precise watch. However, in the universe, things are not so simple. In Einstein's relativity theory, time is intrinsically linked to gravity and speed. All celestial bodies create a gravitational well around them due to their gravity. Inside this well, time passes more slowly, and the stronger the gravity, the slower time advances. In conventional celestial bodies, unlike pulsars and black holes with extremely strong gravity, the delay in time is not so evident. However, there is still a small difference in the way the clocks move between all of you and the astronauts in orbit. The relationship between time and speed can be expressed in the form of a paradox, such as the faster, the slower. As the displacement speed increases, the flow of time decreases. This delay is not noticeable in everyday activities, but begins to operate at speeds close to the speed of light. In fact, this is what is generating the first interesting paradox related to time. Of course, this paradox is the paradox of the twins. Many people may have already heard about it, since it is frequently addressed in scientific fiction works, but not everyone fully understands its meaning. Now, this paradox can be summarized in a very simple way. First, imagine twin brother. Suppose the younger brother remains on Earth, while the older brother leaves on a space trip at 90% of the speed of light. At such a speed, the passage of time is reduced by half. In other words, when they spend 10 years with the younger brother on Earth, only 5 years will have passed for the brother who is in the spaceship. In other words, from the point of view of the brother who went to space, when he returns, he will be 5 years younger than the twin brother who remained on Earth. And more than that, this is not only subjective, but it can also be considered objectively from a biological perspective. In this way, it is possible to become even younger than your own children. By the way, these conclusions from Einstein's theory are widely supported by modern science, and these conclusions also show a kind of physical objective meaning for time, suggesting the possibility of some kind of transporter. However, so far this discovery has not yet been achieved. There is another interesting conclusion. As we have seen so far, although it appears that time is uniform for everyone in everyday life, in reality this is no longer an illusion. And if the unidirectionality of time, in fact, was also an illusion, and there was the possibility of going back? If this is possible, scientists imagine that several possibilities would open up. Now let's assume that time revision is really possible. Do you think this would be the answer to many problems? No, it's completely wrong. Traveling to the past would create even more questions. Paradoxes and their solutions. Any form of travel in time inevitably involves temporary paradoxes. Sometimes the defects that these paradoxes can cause even scare scientists themselves. For example, suppose the story is completely rewritten. And if you return to a drastically altered world, but were the only one to remember how it was originally, how would it be? Or if you could no longer exist and disappear? One of the simplest and harmless paradoxes that time travel can cause is known as the ontological paradox, the information paradox, or the bootstrap paradox. For example, suppose you all travel back to the past and find your favorite musician before he starts his creative career. You show this musician the songs he will compose in the future. In this case, he would write songs of success under your influence. That is, this musician would be composing songs that were shown to him by you, coming from the future. From the musician's point of view, this song would not have a reason to be. This song simply appeared out of nowhere along with all of you, who also appeared out of nowhere. After all, maybe you haven't even been born at this time. An even more famous paradox is the so-called grandfather paradox. Suppose you go to the past and accidentally or intentionally kill your grandfather when he was young. In this case, your grandfather would have no children, your parents would not exist, and you could not exist. However, if you could not exist, there would be no one to go to the past and kill your grandfather. This paradox does not need to be about the grandfather, and it is not necessarily a story related to death. Suppose you want to avoid the beginning of World War I, preventing the murder of Francisco Ferdinand in Sarajevo. Or maybe, to prevent World War II and the Holocaust, you decide not to allow Hitler and the Nazis to reach power in Germany. If you are successful in the mission, there will be no reason for those who are in the future to go to the past to correct something. Thus, you would not have traveled in time, which means that no one would have changed the story. Well, you understand, don't you? Well folks, in this way, today's video, ironically, as expected, came to an end due to lack of time. Of course, the simplest way to deny these paradoxes is simply to say that time travel is impossible. However, we already consider the opposite, don't we? In addition, there are other solutions to attribute new properties to time. For example, causal coherence. The idea is that events in the past cannot occur in a way that prevents you, who are in the future, from traveling in time. Or, regardless of how time changes, this causes only a temporary discrepancy, and eventually everything realigns itself back to the main line. If we save Francisco Ferdinando, the causes and the moment of the First World War may change, but the results and the discrepancy will probably be the same. However, to prove whether time really has these properties, we can only verify in reality. This is why scientists have a lot of work ahead. If there are interesting discoveries in the future, we will certainly share with all of you. Thank you all for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed our content. If you liked this video, we would be happy if you could like it and share the video on your social networks and subscribe to the channel. We have always appreciated your support. Now let's get ready for the next video here on our Wikivedia Plus channel. We'll be back soon. A big hug, and until then, bye!